Water that is super crooked. That's a little better. The water that is kosher for Netilas Yadaim. We spoke last time, the Mishnah that taught us that there's basically three qualities. Three qualities that are necessary for the water. It has to be ro'ui la'achilas behema. It has to be that it's not used, malacha was not done with it. And it has to be that the tzura, the mara, I should say, the color, did not change. We spoke about many different geshmaka cases. Just to reiterate, so now some have professed last time some misconception that's in the Welt, that once water is used, you can't reuse it. So that's a true line. The question is what's called used, meaning if I drink from a cup of water, does that mean the rest of the water in the cup is used? I'm pretty sure not. I'm very sure not. And it's definitely royal achilas behema. And you didn't use the rest of the water. The fact that you poured into a cup doesn't make it used. Now, if you actually used it, like we spoke about, and it's sitting on the bottom of a sink, then yes, to reuse it is going to be a problem. But the fact that it was drunk, whatever the word is, consumed, tishta, the fact that you drunk from it is not going to make the remainder of the water a problem. What about if an animal drank from it? For the animal lovers amongst us, so what happens, you have an issue, and the animal drinks from the water. Does that disqualify the water? So this is a Sivin Shulchan Aruch, which I don't, Rabbi Katzman, can I bother you to send me a chil? Oh, wait, I think I have it here. It's on my stand, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Sivin Shulchan Aruch, in Sif Daled, Kuf Nantasif, Kuf Nantasif Daled, that the Shulchan Aruch teaches us that, no, it's not Kuf Nantasif Daled, that if an animal drank from the water, what is the halacha? So what would the Eilim say based on what we've been saying until now? It's mutter. Why is it mutter? It didn't change its form, and what? It's still fit for an animal. It's still fit for an animal. Same color. Good. So now comes the Shulchan Aruch and it says Mayim sheshas mem atar negolim. Oi, that the dogs drink from it. Says the Shulchan Aruch yesh misha paisol. Some say it's possible. Ve'in dvarim nirin. Ella bein be'ilu bein b'chol shar bein b'chayiv oiv yesh lahachshir. So why would it be possible? Anyone?
It's pretty disgusting.
It's disgusting, but the level of disgust.
Animal would drink it.
Oh, very good. Would an animal drink from it? So this is an interesting discussion. That l'chayr, the reason is when an animal drinks from something, there's a little bit of backwash. Now the backwash is called used water, because it was drunk, right? For example, maybe we could say if a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old, drinks from it, and more goes back in the cup that goes in, how that happens, no one really knows. But that would be called that the water is used. That would be the yesh misha oisirim. So why lemaisa would it be mutter? Reason be mutter is because how much water goes back in. Okay, I was just a little bit extreme, but in reality, how much water goes back in? A little bit. So that's called batal. This is going to get us into a very big discussion. How do you fix messed up waters? But yes?
Can you use water from a stream, like where there's fish?
Can you use water? So the answer is yes, but your question is, but they drink from the water. Very good. So that's going to be the second reason. The second reason, which is that it's batal. And that's the Shulchan Aruch Lamaisa Paskins, that it is kosher. Comes along the Mishnah Berurah, and the Mishnah Berurah says, 1 second, what about if something is a ma'os? If something is disgusting? So what's the problem with this Mishnah Berurah? It's not one of the conditions. That's what the Chazon Ish comes along and says. Let's read the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah comes along and he says, Kshem the das machaber, but if a kelev or a chazir drink from it, then it's possible mishum ma'os. So Mishnah Berurah is giving us a little bit more of a lumdis. It's not just that it's a ma'os. It's a ma'os to the extent you're going to spill it out. So because you're going to spill it out, it's made ki'ilu, you did spill it out. Comes on the Chazayin Ish in Sibuchav Basic Katin Yirchas, and I'll read his words from the Dirsha over here. Avli Shemayim Elu Einan Ruyas Ashtiyas Adam. Who cares? Ein Lepasel and Netilas Yadaim Ru'uyin L'Shtiyas Behema. So what is going on with the Mishnah Brura? So the answer to the Mishnah Brura is that he's learning it's kinishpachin 100%. He's learning it's not just that it's a ma'os, which tells you the level of ma'os that's necessary. Therefore, it's like it's nothing. It's like the svaras that we find, kol oimid whatever is yeah, kol oimid lisref is kesarav tami. By avodah zara we know that what? Yeah, we have in chatzitzas as well, but in avodah zara we know that if you're going to cut down the tree, it's ki'ilu, it's not here. That's the chayra what the Mishnah Brura here is going to hold. It is interesting that the Yalkut Yosef Lamaisa is machmir. But Pashtus, okay, I don't know how Nageh it is, but Pashtus is the one can be semech on the Chazayin Ish. But now, what happens if something dirty falls into the water? Something dirty falls into the water. So what would the Ilam say now? Like, the dirty sponge falls in the water, or I don't know, you're washing something from outdoors. And something full of dirt and it falls in the water. What would we say? L'chayra says the Mishnah. Oh, it's Mishnah Marafar. It's not Mishnah. It's just so it says. What do you mean? No, the stream is clean. Oh, if it's dirty. Again, good. So.
Go back to a regular requirement that it has to be Rolachil's Kalav.
And is there Rolachil's Kalav? Meaning the Yenachazin should be Mekel. Good. So the Shartian comes along, the Shartian says, meaning, let's realize, this Rolachil's Kalav we believe in. Pesach, anyone, I know it's a whole discussion, are we Machmer, are we Mekel? It's not working?
No, it's shaking.
Oh, it's shaking because I'm hitting it? Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Or those watching appreciate it because they're busy looking at their screen and saying, can you stop please? Can someone just tell them to stop? Thank you. There's a table outside, it's very shaky also. I was like, ooh. Anyways, so Hilchos Pesach, we paskin this way, right? We paskin all the medications, whatnot, if things are not Rolachil's Kalav, you're allowed to use them. So we do believe in this. Not necessarily it's the same thing, but the Shartzian here points out, the beged is meluch l'charbe, v'shaha b'soich hamayim, v'alidei zeh nemas hamayim, Efsher du bichlal shayfchen k'moishe shasa hakelev. So Shabura really believes in this entity, but lamaisa. What's the lamaisa? Lamaisa is probably we could also say it's telling the level of mos, because the Shabura here is saying that if it's efsher, it's like that, it's going to be spilled out. It sounds like maybe we don't have such a firm affiliation with pigs and dogs, or maybe we do. I'm not getting personal over here. But, would you just spill it out? If there's a bowl that someone drank from, it sounds like in the Mishnah Berurah's world, it's not even like if you're going to spill it out. Oh, you needed to wash your hands, so you wash your hands in it. So I just don't know. I'm just making this machlekes Chazayin Ish and Mishnah Berurah. I don't know how vast it is. In our world, could be often the cases, and the cases that it is mamish disgusting, like you said, it's going to be a shini mare, and then it's going to come along to the fact that could the animal eat it? We spoke about the fact a little bit soap and water. If a dirty sponge falls into he has your dirty sponge, your Nagelwasser cup. So what are you going to say? So he said, very cute. What about the fact that the sponge was cleaned? So is that called that the water cleaned the sponge? Lumdis. And then it's called used. That's called used. What's the answer to that? Answer to that is it's only if you did malacha with it. The fact that maybe it was whatever. Okay, so now we continue with this conversation and we go to our swimming pool. And this is very negeya. Why is this very negeya? Because apparently in South Africa, water outages are common, and many Yidden own pools. Obviously, we all knew this, and therefore, you need a drink. And the only place you can get it from your swimming pool. Obviously, you get it from your swimming pool. I thought ask one of your 72 slaves to go get you a bottle of water. But okay, I guess different Jewish communities. I'm not getting involved. So can you use the water in your pool for Netilas Yadaim? So based on what we learned, what?
They would drink the water of the swimming pool?
Who would?
People in South Africa.
You don't have to be able to drink it.
Okay, you mentioned they would drink it.
No, excuse me. So what would everyone say about the swimming pool? No, what would everyone say? Is it roy lachilus kelev?
Use it.
Oh, good. So let's go one at a time. Is there shini mare? I hope not. Your pool should hopefully be clear. If it isn't, you should deal with that because you're breeding diseases in there. Fine. Is it roy lachilus kelev? Again, Nachamol, I hope so. I don't think you have that much chlorine in there. That would be odd. Which, by the way, parenthetically, he points out over here, when you go to an ocean, again, I don't know what ocean he's talking about. That's so much salt that Yam HaMelech maybe, but so ocean water animals drink. I don't know. No, they don't. Really? Really? Okay, I'm the crazy one. I'm happy to hear. I don't know. I just assume how salty is the ocean? I mean, I haven't been in there recently, but really? Okay, good. Let's continue. So let's assume that the pool is that. But what's the problem? Is a pool considered malacha was done with it? So we spoke about if you wash dishes, it's a problem. We said if you clean dishes, what do we say? It's not a problem. Because that's not called positive. That was the way we were magdir last week. If you do positive work, you clean a dirty dish. So l'chayra, what's the nafkamina? So now, why do you go into your swimming pool?
Are you going to cool down?
Very good.
We said that if it was filtered between the last swim or whatever.
So I'm saying you're going into, let's say, bittul and filtered. Okay, let's get there in a moment. But before we get there, why you could be going to your pool for multiple reasons. You're going to your pool because you're going to your pool. Why am I going to the pool? Because I am. Leave me alone. Okay, good. Or I'm going to my pool for exercise. Good, similar reason. Or I'm going in to cool off, or I'm going in to clean off. No, I don't know. Listen, going to a pool to clean off. You're going to your neighbor's pool. Stay there. Okay, listen. I don't know. But he says something else. He has another case. Why else would you be kavana? No, so just swimming itself. Good. So let's go in order. Very good. Swimming itself, you're not using the water. No, it's not called positive usage. But it's not called positive usage. Again, we already have a marmakoim that's the chiluk between washing dirty dishes and clean dishes. Clean dishes also, if I had no water, I wouldn't rinse off the clean dishes. So we spoke about why you're doing it. We spoke about yana baba maisas and whatnot, but maisa, fine. So now, if you're swimming, l'chayr is not called using the water. Now, what would be a case? He has two very nice cases, a little bit graphic, but how you're using the water to clean yourself off. No, anyone? If you're dirty. No, but he says a very simple case. You're standing next to the pool, and your feet get dirty. People do this all the time. You just stick your feet into the water. Yeah, so you stick your feet. This is his case. It's a very good chap. That's one. That wasn't so graphic. The second one's a little graphic. A swimmer sometimes wants to wipe his nose, so he uses the water. Listen, I'm just reading.
You disconnected the water from the...
I am just. No, he says you dip your head in. I don't know. Shikl is really matziv. I don't know. But Maisa, yeah, it's a little bit disgusting. Chayr using the bathroom isn't, because that's not cause of the water. That's just okay. Let's go weiter. But Lemaisa. Okay, so it's a Pri Megadim. Let's look at the Pri Megadim. Chavra. Pri Megadim is Marmakam number 9. Okay, we're in Kuf Sadi, Marmakam number 9. This is on page 20. Says the Pri Megadim ve'efsher afilu madiach habatzek rak mitzanin yodav b'mayim lekarer achamimos. This is the baker's hands were too warm. And when he's playing with the dough, he didn't want hot hands. I guess you're baking out in the sun. So he wants to cool off his hands. So what does he do? He sticks his hands in water. So Evsher, cooling off your hands, chashiv kitzinun yayin umayim, like we saw, like you're cooling off the wine and the water. And that apostles for the Tzilas Yadaim. So it's Evsher the Pri Megadim. Based off of that, if it's 1,000,000 degrees outside and you jump into your pool to cool off, chayra, we have a Pri Megadim that is mistapik. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is yes, you have dirt in your feet, you rinse it in the pool, and you blow your nose. I'll add that kids and pool toys, right? The whatever they're playing with, which could be anything at this point, right, goes into the water to clean it off. So the water, it's not a crazy thing to say that the water is being used to positively clean something. But the question is, as you were pointing out, what about bittul, basically?
That's if they care. If they don't, like they throw in the kid.
Fine, okay, but again, we have a bunch of svaras here, meaning with all these svaras added up, it doesn't sound so lechatchila. Number one, yeah?
I still agree with you. I don't know why swimming itself is not meant to be using water. When you take
It's a positive usage.
When you take one of those swim toys and you throw it in the water and it glides the water.
Right, the reason why
you're
we're
playing with the toys
washing
in the
the
water.
dishes is because the mice you're doing is a mice shtos. Like, what are you doing? You
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything. Swimming is here we're swimming. It's a regular normal action.
Okay, I'll be honest. I was thinking when he said exercise, if you go exercise, then I think it's pasha what you're all saying. If you're exercising, then of course the water is doing something. There's no question. That's what you're doing. Is I'm using the water, whether it's the pressure,
When
meaning.
you're backfloating, you're not using the water.
No, if you're just relaxing. No, again, if you're just relaxing, I don't know. That might just be. I don't know if that's called a positive usage. I don't know. Listen, it's a good question. Lamaisa, we have multiple reasons that we have an issue over here. So now, what's Lamaisa? Lamaisa, can you wash with the pool water? And grounds is pretty. It is commonly relevant because often you don't have water by a pool and you want to eat something.
Also with the pool,
Yeah.
you're using all the water.
So therefore,
You're using a tiny amount.
good. So what are you trying to say? Bittul.
Yeah.
So say bittul.
You
Good.
can say you're using the water.
Good. Perfect. Very good. So comes on the Har Tzvi. Why he didn't quote over here?
Hundreds of gallons.
No, it's true. As much as you're using, there's always be bittul.
You're using all the water coming out.
The use. Let's speak this out. One second. Let's speak this out. No, there's enough water. It's definitely bittul. So I suppose we're going to see in a moment.
Why, it keeps happening? Or?
Oh, we're going to see in a moment. Maybe let's make a left turn for a moment. Let's hold this shayla and let's talk about, before we say is there bittul, how do you fix water? Because once you understand how you'd fix water, it's going to be an easier discussion. So how you fix water? The way you fix water is you make it re-suitable. It was not suitable, so you make it re-suitable. What does that mean? You make it now efshar that an animal will drink it. What does that mean? That means you mix it with other waters. If I have salt water, so I mix it with fresh water until it's going to be drinkable. How much is that? I don't know. Often it could be less. It doesn't have to be that much. If it's a shinei maria, for example, if it changed colors, how much you have to add in until it comes back? Not so much. Mishabura continues, and Mishabura says, what if you use the water, like you did malacha with it? Says Mishabura, as long as you have roiv, not shishim, not roiv, as long as you have 51% kosher water, the non-kosher water, the used water is batal. And the Ben Ish Chai over here in note number 10 says, you're even allowed to do that lechatchila. It's whole shayla being mevatel iser, it's not called iser. And you can do lechatchila. So to be mevatel here is you don't need so much. I mean, you don't need 60 times like you would need in other areas. So do you have 51%? That's really the question. And l'chayra, the answer would be yes. Comes along the Har Tzvi, and he quotes a Graz, a Shulchan Aruch Harav. And I think this might be the discussion that you're having if you were to think about it deeply. The Graz says everything is connected. It's all one pool. So even if I'm only using a little bit, it all has a din that it's all being used together, which with what a lot of you are saying is you're swimming, it makes a lot of sense. It's not this one dot of water that I used. I used all the water. Says the Har Tzvi, he argues, and the Har Tzvi says no, and he says only the part of the pool that was used is called used, and therefore you would yes have bittul. You would yes have bittul, yeah?
What about the cooler case? The water in the cooler?
Yeah.
The sodas in the cooler.
Good.
Right? I think we said
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a problem.
Yes. Bittul.
You also, it's only the water that's around the can.
So meaning theoretically I would agree with you. Just the problem is everything is moving. Everything is moving. So it's continuously all doing malacha. If the truth is, I'll say like this: let's say you have a big cooler with 5-6 sodas, then I would agree with you. It's not, but
You don't save them?
no, swimming pool is massive. The amount
if
of
you're in
gallons
for
in
half
a
an
pool.
hour, it's
No, what?
If you're in for a half hour?
The amount of gallons in a pool.
If you're in for a half hour,
Gallons.
most of it?
Gallons. No.
You're on the surface.
You're not so big. Just think about just surface area of you versus pool.
I
Maybe.
don't stay one.
No, so you want to say, what do you say? You want to say you have a pool and you have 150 people in the pool and it's, I don't know.
They constantly are.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. He says over here, again,
It'll happen every second anyway?
Pashtos kama kama vatal. Pashtos kama kama vatal. Pashtos.
So you say the same thing matter. A water cooler.
I plead the fifth on this one. He wants to say that he quotes a Piskei Tshuvos that says you should avoid using the swimming pool, but b'shas adchak, put it into a cup and you could use it. Here he goes into a different cheshbin with mayim she'uvim that's connected with a filter and whatnot. I don't want to get involved in that cheshbin. It's a nice shayla. I would like to see some contemporary. I didn't get a chance to. I'm sure Ray Belsky and a lot of the contemporary gedolim were asked this question, and just in Lamais, you're in camp and you have a pool. Can I just take a cup and wash with it? It's a very now just with this bittul thing before we continue. If someone often, this sometimes happens, people wash back into the washing thing. And, sometimes, not such smart people, they take out the cup, where did I wash? And they're washing back, what are you doing? But...
In the world of bittul, who cares?
At some point, yeah. In the world of bittul, kol zman, that thing has a lot of water. You just have to be careful. If it's getting to the bottom, which is sometimes when people don't do smart things, we'll save the water. So, Ben Ish Chai. Ben Ish Chai says over here, Mayim Kisherim, Shenasan L'toichem Ma'at Mayim B'sulim, B'telim B'roiv, V'am B'sulim Mashlimim, V'yachal Levatam L'chatchila. Ben Ish Chai says you're able to. L'chayr the lumdis is right, it's not Isser. It's Chayr the lumdis over here, which is very complicated, so you have B'tel Isser L'chatchila, but L'chayr is lumdis. It's Chayr the lumdis. Okay. I thought actually we were going to get the Chatzitzas today, but this is Geshmak. So, okay. Snow. Can you wash your hands with snow? So the answer to this question is if it melts. If it melts, as the Shulchan Aruch and Seviyud Beis, that if the snow melts,
Why does it have to be melted?
Hashalik v'abard, I know you're about to say, that's if it's memsa. We'll get there in a minute. Yeah, memsa. If it's memsa, correct. Hashalik v'abard v'akfor v'glid v'hamelch im riskon ad she'na'aseh mayim no lemem v'tayvlim b'hem im yesh b'hem kishir. That you has the shear, then it will be okay. And that is how the Mishnah Berurah paskins. Lamaisa says Mishnah Berurah in Sivkatan and Ches that the Shulchan Aruch said it has to melt. So we're asking, what's the question? Why don't we just say if it has memsaz, din of a mikvah, and you could go into it.
Are you assuming if you took a cup to it?
Yes. So if you took a cup, very good. But now, are you allowed to stick your hands in if it has a sheer mikvah? Mishnah Berurah says b'shas hadchak. Then he is willing to be mekel. Now you have to go back to Machlekes and Mishnah Berurah. Do you say tefillas or do you say netilas? I think let's see if he writes over here. He says tefillas, according to Mishnah Berurah. But the Mishnah Berurah cheshbin right. As long as it is right, this will be the one potential unique case. You actually say tefillas Yadaim. And this was, I think, popular Corona. I think there was one snowstorm that became popular. If anyone needs to toivel their dishes, go outside now and find an area where the snow is all collected. And I think so. I think it was an Erev Pesach snowstorm that year. The year 126, whatever. That Pesach. I think that was the psak. And the Maisa, that is the psak. So that really wraps up the water that is kosher. So we're really leaving it off with two Sarach Iyans. The first Sarach Iyan, we've had many reports back that the opening the tap shtickle, L'maisa, we've yet to find a heter. The best we got is, Shesat Rak, you could be mekel without much of a reason. Maybe that was the Avad Yosef we spoke about. Well, I just want to speak out. There's a Minchas Yitzchak. We didn't really speak out that he has an interesting cheshbon that if you leave the water running, you go like this, 1, 2, right, whatever, 6, as many times you do it. And then you leave the water running, and then you stick your hands and you put the stopper in the sink. Then you stick your hands in, so then the water is connected all the way back to the source. So then that's this mayim she'uvin shenim shechu that's being drawn, and then ulai that together with that maybe one could be mekel, pretty not pashit, and no, and the swimming pool also. It sounds like it's not lechatchila. I think we'll leave it at that. If b'diavad b'shas adchak yish makom lakal, I would say yes. I would say that there is makom lakal, but it's one of those things that people think what's the big deal? That and the cooler, we have to remind ourselves that l'maisa it's pashas not b'seder. Yeah.
If you have a big bucket that everyone's washing from, every time you pour it back in the bottle, who cares? So you could do that.
Yeah, if it's a big bucket.
It doesn't have to be that big. It has to be 7 washing cups full of water.
No, well, if whatever. In a chanami. Pasha say in a chanami. I don't.
Going right back into the same bucket over and over.
So this is not. That's not so much. That's a different sugya. This is a sugya that do we say kama kama batal forever, or is there a concept that once a roiv is you're trying to be batal, you're not able to? Do we say that shuv nisarer v'nis gaber? That do we say that once there's too much, it overwhelms what's in it, and then it passes it? This is a big machlekes. And we'll leave it. I mean, I'll tell you a first cousin to this shayla. In Shabbos, you have the air conditioning drip. Air conditioning drip. This is more common in Eretz Yisrael. But so what do you want to do? You put in Eretz Yisrael, you have all the apartments. So your air conditioning is dripping over the thing, and people get upset. So what do? You put a pipe, and you put it into a big water thingy, gallon water thing. Wonderful, excellent. What's the problem? Problem is in a hot summer day, it fills up, and now you want to empty it. Problem is that water is muksa. Why is that water muksa? Because it's nightlight. It was created on Shabbos from where? From the air conditioner. It pulled it out and now created. So it's muksa. So do we say? So some people say no big deal. Put a little bit of water on the bottom. Kama bottle. Every drop that falls in is going to be bottle. Every drop is going to be bottle. Who cares that there's so much end of the day? And we believe in this. We believe in this. Another case. You have your ice bowl on your table. You have your ice bowl on your table. So your ice bowl on the table. What happens at the end of the meal? It's all melted ice. That melted ice is muksa. That melted ice is muksa. That melted muksa because it's noiled. The melted ice is muksa, it's noiled. So now, how do you move it? No, that is muksa. So there's two eitzahs. Eitzah number one is if you have a spoon in the bowl, then you're good to go because of the spoon. It's called it's tiltum min atzad. Let's say mutter, which is a spoon, and then you can tilt it out. Let's say you don't have a spoon. So what's the eitzah? Put a spoon. Or what's the other eitzah? Put a dot of water on the bottom. Then you put all your ice cubes in, and then as the ice melts. Put the water after it doesn't work. It has to be mevatel into it. No, you can't be. You don't have enough. You have to have kama bottle. Ice melts. You could have whatever. Yeah, you could pour a lot in. Yeah, once you're doing that, you put a spoon in. There's ways around it. But I'm just giving you the same type of eitzah. Is you put one dot of water on the bottom, and then you have kama bottle. Each drop is bottle, and then it's fine. Now that case grada does work. The case of the air conditioning vent is a huge machlekes because it has to travel. It's not bottle miyad. It goes from the air conditioning, it travels through the pipe into the water. So it could be that's not called being mevatel miyad. But one of the big issues that the poskim bring out, at least is why Rav Elyashiv is machmir on the air conditioning case, is because once it gets more than the amount, it's shovnis ayrav and iskaber. It's more than it, and therefore it creates an issue. That might be the problem over here. Okay, we have a few more minutes. Let's start chatzitza. Yeah. Why does it have to be?
Why isn't it not included? Can you use Maim Shalana basically?
Interesting. I don't know. I guess it's all Nechla and Xavier Rabbanan. I don't know.
Interesting. It wasn't mentioned as one of the conditions.
Right. Maybe because the Xavier didn't. The conditions are all derabbanans. These are derabbanan conditions. Pashtus. I mean, it's a Mishnah, but I think they're derabbanans. But I don't know. I'm pleading the fifth in this one. It's twice for one day. That's a bad thing. Okay. But the other one we pass at the end of the day that the swimming pool, the Maisa, just chagik. Okay. Chatzitza is a world, an absolute world. We're going to try to just dive in and do a shtickle. Basically, chatzitzas are as follows. There's a Gemara in Eruvin on Daf. Very good. If you didn't get that, they just learned chatzitzas the last 2 months. So if someone didn't get that, Rav Yitzchak. Kedamar, you gotta go. Damar Rav Yitzchak, Dvar Torah, Rubayu Makbid of Chaitzitz. Midaraisa, you need Roiv and Makbid. Vishaina Makbid of Eina Chaitzitz. Vegazu Midraban. Al Roiv Shaina Makbid, Hashem Rubayu Makbid. Val Miutay HaMakbid, Misham Rubayu Makbid. So basically, when all the dust settles, what do we care about? What does makbid be? Good. This is Mr. Brewer that we'll talk about in one moment. Very good. When all the dust settles is a miyat to makbid is a problem. Miyat she'enai makbid is not a problem because it's usually going to be a miyat. Is it really going to be a miyat? Now is time for a beautiful chumrah. Says the Shar Tzion, Sif Katan Beis. How much of your hand do you have to wash? Pashit l'fizel roiv ha'paiskin shesayvin the dayad makom shekala etzba'is. Roiv min ha'etzba is going to have a din of a roiv. That was a massive problem. If I have to just wash my fingers, midaraisa mi'ikar adin, so when I'm trying to figure out what is a mi'ot, what is a roiv, go by the fingers, says the Shartzian. So now if I have a Band-Aid on a large Band-Aid on a finger, I'm going to run into a serious problem. Because very good, you're going to say, you're not makbid, you want it there, but it's a roiv. Once it's a roiv, one finger. Good, very good. 4 fingers. Still could happen. Meaning, all I'm pointing out is that if you say it's your hand, you have 5 fingers. That's true, Taka. I don't know. Interesting. Baruch Hashem. Chasdei Hashem. Can you imagine? Wild. Well, I'm just pointing out that normally you view your hand, your roiv, as your whole hand. So then you say, okay, roiv is never nageya. Let's just talk about a miyat. Once you realize that it's your fingers, l'chumra, there could be a case that would actually happen. So now, lemaisa, what does the word makbid mean? Says the Mishnah Brura, gives you a beautiful definition. So the chavra that are learning chatzitzos will appreciate. Aktim lazeh hakdama kitsara. Nacham Tov is going to transcribe this, and we will fight about it later. Aktim lazeh hakdama kitsara. V'hu. Teleni and Tfilas HaGof, which I don't say the Chaver. We all learned Tilchas Nita together, so everyone here knows a little bit about Chatzitzos. The Indian Tfilas HaGof Kaimlan Tzarchli Zoher Shlei Chatzitza. V'hainu, what does that mean? Shelo Yishum Davar Mudbak Al Gof. Nothing should be connected to your body. Be'isa Tfilah at the time of Tivling. That area is not roi, is not fitting for the water to come in. What do you mean? Midaraisa, you have one little thing in your body, it's not a problem. Elim kena chatzitza al roiv b'sar gof, let's on the majority. Midarabanan, aser. Afilu ma'ya chatzitza al miyat gof, even if it's only on the minority. Gezira atu rubu. Loi asru chachamim, here are the words, chavra. Loi asru chachamim ela im kein, k'shederech menei adam lahakbid alav, she'yishaer kach. Every word here is loaded. That's the derech b'nei adam to be makbid, to leave it there. Av she'ata be'is ha'tfila ein makbid al zeh. Right now you're not makbid. Aval davar she'ein derech lahakbid alav einoi chaytzitz. Elam kenei mechaz harev hagof. So obviously now we have a perfect explanation of what makbid is. Baruch Hashem. Okay, good. Midavgein weiter. Beautiful. Lemaisa, now that we understand this so well, what's the story with the dirt under your fingernails? The dirt under your fingernails. So we know in the world of Tfilas Isha, we're for sure makbid on it. What about Netilas Yadaim? So the lemaisa over here is that no one really cares about the little dirt under the nails, and that's the reason why people are not makbid for Netilas Yadaim. If you didn't look at your hands and you just washed and you found it afterwards, then you assume it came afterwards. Similar din we find by tefillah. Okay, and let's move on. Okay, we know the din. What is roiv? Roiv goes by the velt, goes majority of the world. But it doesn't go by the whole world. If there's a specific group of people that do something, a painter always has paint. Remember we spoke about Moshe Feinstein, he had ink on his hands, and he washed Netilas Yadaim. Why? Because he said, he's bekach. He's always writing, so he has ink on his hands, and he says, it's not going to be a problem. They say a ganenet, a preschool teacher is always busy playing with paints and whatnot. She will be similarly, that she will have on her hands. Now, lemaisa. Let's just dive into one very critical case. Okay, a lot of the cases we spoke about, but now you know that in the one real difference is we don't have the same level of hakpada, pardon the pun, to take off everything that's not a chatzitza, and that's the reason why you never find a woman. Oh, you have nail polish and you can't wash your hands until Netilas Yadaim. However, what happens if your nail polish starts cracking and it bothers you? So once it bothers you, you're running into an issue. That's called a miyad hamakbid. Meaning if there's an issue with the nail and the woman says, oh, I'm going for a manicure because of that, that's a problem. That is a problem.
So what does she do?
She doesn't watch Netilas Yadaim.
Wear gloves or not?
She doesn't watch Netilas Yadaim. She has a problem. She has a chatzitza and she has to get rid of it. So I don't know. She has to file it down on her own and she has to take care of it. But it is a problem. So they say that maybe they quote it from Rishonim Amar. I don't think you have to go all Sephardi in this one. We could go Ashkenazi as well. What does it mean that she's going to get a nail polish? That was not English. What does it mean she's going to get a manicure because the nail cracked? What does that mean? That means she's makbid? No, it doesn't mean she's makbid. It means she wants to fix her nail. Would she go out that way? Is she not going to be seen until she gets a manicure? I sure hope. It's a high level. It's a high level of she's not going to be seen. She's not going to go to the park. She's not going to go to the grocery store. She maybe will even go to some level of chasana, some level of simcha, right? Some level. I'm not saying she'll go to her daughter's chasana. So that's the reason why when it comes to nail polish cracking, even though textually it seems to be a very big problem, but Lamaisa, that's what is going to be a makam to be megal. Someone's by the door, if someone could just open it up. So,
why we go based off appearance? Like that kind of throws everything out.
What do you mean?
Like she cares that it's, I guess it's like a dirt or dirt.
If she really cares about it, usually something that you don't care about. You don't care about. We're going to end off with when it comes to rings. We don't have time for this, but when it comes to rings, so we know for Tfilas Isha we're going to be makbid and all these things. But when it comes to rings, so the Mishnah Berurah Sivkatim Yutes says, what's the litmus test? As we all know, says the Mishnah Berurah that the litmus test is going to be: is she take it off? Is she makbid to take it off when she does melacha? It says the Mishnah Berurah, Davka Isha shedarkei lahakbid lahasar atabas b'shas melacha b'shas lisha. But a man which is not darkei lahakbid to remove it when he needs b'shas melacha, why not? He ain't darkei lolush, because a man doesn't need dough. So therefore, by default, he has nothing to be makbid and take off his ring. Says the Mishnah Berurah, so you don't have to take it off when you wash your hands. You don't have to take it off. Afilu if it's not ruffle, even if it's tight. This is really where it comes from. That nowadays, many women, even if they need all these machines and this and that. So for the world of Netilas Nashim is one thing. But a word for Netilas Yadaim, does she have to take off her rings when she washes her hands? So the answer is, if she takes it off, some women take it off when they shower, some women take it off when they go to sleep. Those women usually lose it once every 5 to 10 years, and then that's a different problem. But if they take it off, then they take it off. We can't help you. But if a woman keeps it on, no, I shower with it, I swim with it, I bake with it, I do everything with it, then l'maisa, she's allowed to leave it on, even lechatchila, pashtas, while she washes Netilas Yadaim. And it's a big savior for a lot of people. It's a big savior for a lot of people, because a lot of people, the only time they ever take off their rings is when they wash Netilas Yadaim, because they believe al pi halacha they have to take it off, and what ends up happening is they lose the ring. So there is really no reason for that. And Lemaisa, if you want to see something inside, and with this will conclude, I thought he had Rav Yashim inside, doesn't he? He has an Ar L'Tzion. Okay, he quotes the Ar L'Tzion. Im nashim tzrichas la'asers tabas miyadim mishas netilas yadayim. Do you have to take off your ring? Tshuva, nowadays, women do not have to remove their rings, even though it's tight on their finger, because they're not rugged to be makbid, to take it off when they need. And there's no chilik, whether it has a diamond in it, doesn't have a diamond in it, and etc. So we'll leave off with that psak halacha, that lamaisa, if a woman does not take it off, she's allowed to not take it off. She's allowed to continue, and she does not have to take it off when she washes her hands. Pick up from here, B'siyata Yishmael.